from, and thank you for joining us today for a practical discussion on how to launch business intelligence in small and mid-sized organizations. My name is Michael Turney, and I'm the Director of Field Marketing for SAS Canada. Now, business intelligence is something that has historically been the domain of large organizations with deeper pockets. Smaller businesses have been left with a more fractured view of their data, often without the advantage of forward-looking insights and analysis. However, as you're going to hear today, and as we all know very well, technology is advancing, and there's no reason small and medium-sized businesses today should continue to use spreadsheets as a key reporting tool. Achieving success with BI tools isn't instantaneous. There are steps all businesses must take to migrate from analyzing Excel spreadsheets to developing insightful business projections or using advanced visualization tools. The end goal for quality BI is to generate insights that lead to smart business decisions. To get there, SMBs in particular should consider the steps today's discussion will ensure success not only with the BI tools they select, but also with the process that ensures the tools are used effectively. These steps include everything from starting with a strong win in your organizations or ensuring your BI goals align with your business plan. And for the next 20 minutes or so, our discussion is meant to abolish this deep pockets myth and show you how to get started on your BI journeys. And if our conversation today inspires you to ask any questions, please feel free to submit them through the chat feature on your GoToWebinar screen there, and we'll save some time at the end of the webcast to respond to these as best we can. To lead the discussion, I'm very pleased to introduce James Alexander, the Senior Vice President, Infotech Research Group. James is responsible for developing and delivering thought leadership to help Infotech customers unlock the potential of technology as a transformative force within their business. He's led retail VAR and system integration organizations, including CTI Solutions Group, EduConnect, TeleSolutions, the Stone Soup Software Company, and Metaphor. He's also held senior sales management position at Microsoft Canada, held leadership roles with IDC's Global Software Business Strategies Group, and for the past 5 years with Infotech, understanding and advising on buyer behavior, channel and partner strategies, and go-to-market models. Interesting, James was twice named the Channel Business Magazine's Who's Who listing, as well as being a Newsmaker of the Year in Computer Dealer News, quoted often in technology issues in both business and trade presses, frequent speaker at events and conferences. Very lucky to have him here with us today. And to provide his subject matter expertise, I'd also like us to welcome Ted Warner. He's our Senior Solutions Architect at SAS. And Ted brings a strong background in performance management and activity-based costing, as well as BI implementation, particularly around data visualization and ensuring meaningful or deriving meaningful insights from your data. After 7 years in consulting, he moved into his current role at SAS as a Senior Solutions Architect and the facilitator of many kickoff projects for BI. He holds an IT and Business Admin degree from Marquette University in Wisconsin. Gentlemen, thank you for both being here today to share your experiences and expert opinions. And with that, I hand over the conversation to James.
Well, thank you, Michael. Thank you for that kind introduction, and thanks to all of our attendees for dialing in today. I'm really excited about today's discussion. I know Ted is as well. You know, I talk to a lot of mid-sized business leaders, both on the IT side and on the business side, and BI is becoming more and more of interest to them, not just in terms of actually getting some business intelligence into the organization, but in terms of some of the exciting things they can do with that business intelligence in order to improve the value proposition they can deliver to the marketplace. So I'm looking forward to today's discussion. And I thought we'd kind of work some sort of a framework around the discussion today and kind of take you through how you get started on your BI journey. And as Michael said, I think quite correctly off the top, it is a journey. Then we're going to talk about some of the tools and how those tools can be used in your organization, how they integrate together. Then we'll get into the issue of data preparation. You know, as usual in most things in life, the devil is in the details, and the details are all really around how you make sure your data is ready. Then we're going to talk about what you do with Insight and how you can share it out to the organization through BI. And then, as Michael said earlier, we're going to save some time for your questions and hopefully our answers. And I just remind you, any time during the discussion today, use the chat window. You'll see either the chat or the chat window, and you can just type your question right in there, and we'll take it up at the end. Getting started on your BI journey, and Ted, from my discussions with customers, it's apparent that they really need to show some value early on in the process in order to build momentum, and in order to kind of overcome that bias organizations have that say, well, maybe I'm just too small for BI. So let me just start, Ted, by asking you, how do you build that momentum off the top to tackle this challenge?
Well, there's many different approaches to building that momentum. I really think it really starts with having some type of executive champion within the organization, whether that's in the actual business unit or if that's on the IT side. You have to start with somebody who is a decision maker that's going to say, hey, this is something that we really need to put our eggs in a basket and get behind, and really take our data and make something of it so that people can make decisions. Another approach I've seen is sometimes people will hire an outside entity, whether that's a speaker or just someone from a very project consultative background, or even someone who was an executive like yourself, James, and they'll come in and begin to speak to groups and start that fire that gets people moving down the path of going down that route. People generally, the biggest success I have seen in these projects is when people have a clear plan. And, when it's aligned to what would be called, quote unquote, SMART: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. Mostly what that's going to be centered around is having a plan that's got milestones that are attainable in a timely manner, right? If you have something that's 6 to 9 months, that's fine, but if you have some quick wins when you start out, it can really generate some excitement to start.
So start small and grow from there, then.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. I mean, the biggest challenge is obviously having the data in place, right? I mean, it's a big challenge to have your data lined up to really create insight. But if you start small, start with specific groups maybe, and chase down some answers that you're looking for, that can be a good approach. When you talk about implementing your plan, obviously having specific goals and starting off small, but you need to have good training. You need to arm your people with the tools that can enable them to actually get to the insight they're looking for. And whether that's the right technology or the right training, that's a very important part of the plan.
And you need both, right?
Yes, you do. You really do. You really need a good set of tools that's easy to use. And once you have that good set of tools, giving people the knowledge that they need to actually make those tools sing is a big part of this.
All right, so traditionally BI projects have been slow to deliver results because, let's face it, it's very complex and there's a lot of underlying technologies to get into place. And I think certainly our observation is that in the past, in kind of BI version 1, people measured success in terms of how many people adopted the tools and how many people in their organization were using them. But I think that the fundamental change that we've found over the last 12 to 18 months is that, whether it's folks on the IT side or folks on the business side, they're now expecting that adoption to take them somewhere. So they're expecting to be able to show demonstrable results on the bottom line of the organization. So what can you share with our viewers today in terms of some of these underlying tools that you really form the foundation of an effective BI initiative?
Well, when I look at this slide, I focus on the bottom part here, James, the measure, compare, analyze, predict, prescribe. And many of the tools that you can see out in the market are really going to help to do measure and compare. But once you get down the path of analyzing and predicting, this really is where SAS can really help an organization out. With a lot of the analytics that we have, if a customer really wants to look forward and do some forecasting, or if they want to try and affect certain measures to achieve the results that they want, that is where we really bring to light some expertise and some good tools to do that.
All right, so let's talk about some of those then.
Okay, so this first view, this is actually from a tool called Enterprise Guide. And this tool is a very process flow-based tool. But what it's going to help you do is it's going to help you prepare your data in a visual fashion. And behind the scenes, what it's doing is it's taking, on the left-hand side, if you look, it's got an Excel sheet and it's got a SAS data set, and it's bringing all of that data into the process, and it's running a join and taking data from multiple sources, and then it's creating a bar chart and a crosstab report. Now, in one view, what you've done is you've done some of your ETL work. You've created the right aggregation level for data that you wish to view, and you've outputted a report. And behind the scenes, what SAS is doing is it's giving you this graphical user interface, but behind the scenes, it's writing the code to do all of this. So not only is SAS giving you a graphical user interface, but it's also giving you the ability to batch that process and rerun it again.
And talk about how important it is, in your view, with the companies you've worked with, to be able to integrate with things like Microsoft Office, particularly within small and mid-sized business.
So, you know, the thing that I want to get across here to a lot of the users is there's a lot of companies, and the biggest symptom is we've got multiple versions of this Excel sheet that gives us the answers that we want. And that's usually the first sign that, hey, you guys need to explore going down the road of looking at using a BI competency center. But what we don't want to do is alienate those users. So when you talk about a tool like the Office add-in, Office Analytics, you're going to get the power of SAS within Excel itself. You can also use it in PowerPoint as well. And you can run those SAS procedures that you're creating out of a tool like Enterprise Guide, like you see here. You can run those same procedures and enable the very much business-focused, the business unit-focused analyst.
Okay, great. Let's turn to dashboards now then.
Okay, yeah, for dashboards, the great thing about the SAS dashboarding tools here is I can take multiple data sources, many different data sources, and bring them into the view. So in this first bottom view that you're seeing right here, there's probably 6 or 7 different data sources that are populating the information in the graphs. And I can create these dashboards to be a jumping off point for another reporting entity that I want, right? So if I click on a dial, I could have it move to another dashboard. I could have it run a forecast. I could parameterize some type of procedure. The sky's the limit. As you look down on the bottom, and in each area, you're always seeing the red and green and yellow view. I can always attach performance and targets. In this middle section right here, you can see the targets that you have for each. I can create my performance view, or I can not have performance view, right? If I just want to render values, that can be done as well. Very flexible, very powerful, and also bringing the power of analytics into the view, as you look right here in this forecasted graph right here.
And very visual as well for folks.
That's right. Okay, I feel like we talked about this.
Now we come to what I think, as I said off the top, the devil's in the details. You know, the oldest saying in our industry is garbage in, garbage out. And with the velocity and the volume and the variety of data that's being created, even for a small and mid-sized business, this whole issue of data preparation is critical.
Most definitely, James. In fact, I would say that on 95% of the projects that I've worked on for BI, data preparation is somewhere around 75 to 80%. Okay, so 75 to 80% of the workload of doing BI is centered around having the data lined up properly, and you can really, the tools themselves help. It also helps having someone who I would consider like a data steward, right? Someone that really has knowledge in the ins and outs of your data. That type of persona in these type of implementations is very important, and that can aid in the success of a project. And for many of the tools, you know, when we talk about access, right? We talk about access engines. We want to be able to bring in multiple data sources, whether that's from SQL Server, whether that's from Teradata, Excel sheets. We want to bring in all that data into one view. And we want to bring in the notion of validation, right? So if I bring in a customer phone number, right, I want to validate that that was actually the correct phone number, or that they didn't have 4 or 5 instances. And also data quality, and that goes along with data quality as well. And we kind of briefly touched on manipulation when we saw the enterprise guide view. You really want to be focused on the level of aggregation that you want to view the reporting at, right? So if I want to go all the way down to SKU, I have to be very, very mindful of how quickly that data grows. If I want to look at region reporting, that's important in manipulating the data to aggregate at a region level as well.
And so for different users, you'd want a different aggregation.
That's right. You know, I mean, the key here is, you know, when I actually go to look at a visualization, you don't want to have an aggregation of 5,000 different data points popping up, because the eye itself can't focus on that many different data points. You want to properly aggregate the data so that when a user goes to look at something, they have the view and the insight that they need. And that really stems from A, having someone that knows the data, and B, having the right tools to aggregate that data to get to the level of reporting that you want to see.
Great.
So we talked briefly about some of the tools, and I just want to go back through some of these items and the reporting types and where it works well. When you talk about dashboarding, it really is great for an executive type. I mean, it's great for any user, but it's great for an executive type user where you don't want to have all of the menu pieces. You just want to have the dashboarding there with the dials and where is performance, right? I don't want to have all the options out for their face. I want to have, here's what's going on, and if they click on it, they can go here. So more of a guided performance, right? And also dashboarding works very well for alerting. So not just for executives, but for some of the mid-level business directors or middle managers even, you want to give them some type of alerting and have it be dynamic. Have it going at the data source when they log into their portal or when they get an alert. For the add-in for Excel, I would say this is great for data exploration, but it's also great for people that want to have this information consumed in Office in some form, right? So the scenario that I always talk to is I have a PowerPoint presentation, and every time I open up the PowerPoint presentation, I want to run some type of report that's going to come back and be dynamic. Now that's possible with the add-in, right? I could have my PowerPoint presentation that I run through, and I have my SAS control that looks at the data, and as I open up the presentation, it's going to run that report, and it's going to be dynamic for people to consume.
All right.
And then the last piece, just briefly, ad hoc reports from SAS Enterprise Guide. This is definitely kind of more free flow visualization discovery. But what's really nice about this tool is it's going to give you the ability to store that content and rerun it, and people can reuse that content. So I'm gonna kind of cruise through these. I know we're moving on time here. So for this is a view from the add-in for Excel, and what this is giving you a view of is here's my actual versus my forecast, right? So it's going to show you prior performance, right? It's going to show you how close you were to your actual forecast, and then it's going to show you where you're expected to be going forward. Precision in forecasting is always important, and this is rendered in that view. I'm moving quickly. Here's one of the last pieces I wanted to show you guys. It does take some effort to get to this level of exploration, but this was a customer example that I use or that I built at one time. And as I click on a specific product, it's going to run a forecast for that product or even a region, so I can look at how I performed in previous years and how I'm expected to perform going forward, along with some performance views as well.
Well, that's great, Ted. Thanks for your insights, and it's very exciting what folks can do with BI solutions. So we've had a few questions roll in. So let me just start with this one, Ted. Does this tool suite allow scenario building to test proposed or competing solutions?
Proposed or competing solutions. I'm trying to, I wish I had a little more background around that question. So scenario building, so I want to build out some type of scenario based on the data that I have.
Right, based in terms of maybe I have a couple of solutions I'm thinking of going to market with, and so how would I test those scenarios?
I would probably use a tool like Enterprise Guide. That's going to give you the ability to be very flexible and really apply those different scenarios. You may even want to parameterize the scenarios, and that can be done very easily through Enterprise Guide. And what's really nice about that tool is once you're done, you could take the output of that and create a stored procedure that someone could consume via Excel or via the web as well.
All right, great. I think we have time for one or two more. Let me ask you this. You started off with this notion of getting some wins early, starting small and building from there. Where in the organization would I look? Is there a particular department? Is it a line of business thing? And where can some of those early wins be got to most quickly?
I've seen BI implementations everywhere, originating from IT. I've seen them in business units. I've seen them in marketing groups. I wouldn't necessarily say that there's one type or one organization that it fits well, because everybody has a need for consuming information. But what I would say is when you have a lot of versions of the truth, and you run a set of procedures to get at data each month, those types of symptoms, those types of things that you're hearing, that is a good sign that, hey, you should probably look at going down the road of doing some BI implementation. And I would say that SAS, no matter what your vision is, if it's really doing some predictive analysis or if it's just doing some ad hoc query and reporting, SAS is a great fit for all of those.
All right. So let's just move to our final comments then. And thanks everyone for submitting your questions. Sorry we didn't get to all of them, but we'll reply online to the ones we didn't get to. So just in terms of a recap, I think what I heard was, number one, get those early wins. Have a sponsor, an executive sponsor that helps you generate enthusiasm. Use the SMART acronym to create and implement a plan that aligns to your business values and allows you to build that momentum. And then we talked a little bit about data preparation and the importance of getting to, as you suggested, that one version of the truth so that you put in good data, and so that by doing that, when you get through the analysis part, you're able to help users make better decisions. Anything to add here, Ted?
No, I think that this is a great approach to going down a BI implementation.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Michael, for putting this together, and I hope it was of value to all of our listeners. We will be making this available in replay mode, and I believe as well, Michael, that that our attendees are going to be able to take advantage of a white paper. Is that right?
That's correct. Right after the webinar here, we'll post that for sharing, as well as a report that aligns with the discussion you can action on today.
All right. So thanks very much, everyone, and I wish you all a good day.
Thanks, James, and thank you, Ted. Everyone have a good afternoon. Cheers.